Okay guys, so in the last episode I asked you guys to ask questions for Brandon Tan, and we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm gonna meet him again in the future, so I'm just gonna be doing 2 questions right now. And the biggest question that I've been getting in the comments is, what keeps you going? Like, if your motivation is down, how do you make it that you keep on going, playing the game? Because, you know, without a doubt, you also have moments in which you're like, I'm not really that motivated. Tell the people, like, well, how's that for you?
So, as said to the article written on IGN, actually my source of motivation is numbers. I'm actually a numbers person, and I like looking at the numbers going up. Yeah. Whether is it the level, you know, we go up to level 5, level 6, level 20, level 30, or in fact reaching level 40. And hopefully, you know, Niantic will increase the cap, you know, to level 45 or 50, or in fact to 60. I'm very sure a lot of people will be very happy. But of course, there'll be people who will also be unhappy. But also the XP, the number, you know, going up to 20 million, 50 million, 60, 80, 100, 120, 150, all the way to where am I right now?
Would you say that the experience is like your biggest drive, or is it maybe like Stardust? Like
everything has a small little driving factor to my motivation, which adds on, you know, as it goes. Like, you know, XP is a different kind of motivation for me. I like looking at the number going up. But of course, if I look at Stardust, it goes up at a different rate. Yeah. Because when we grind, we see the Stardust go up, say, around 30,000 per hour instead of, you know, one legendary rate, and you go up by 20,000. Yeah. You know, so it's a very different feeling. But of course, looking at other aspects, other numbers, it makes me feel motivated to continue to play the game. But there are also other factors that make me motivated, such as, you know, having a really strong bonded group. Yeah. Which my group, you know, consists of people who are of, you know, senior citizens like Auntie Gladys, who is actually 62 years old, but she's currently at 290 million XP. What? Yep. So it's because of people like them, and also people like the ones whom I've met in public. In the public in Singapore, and including meeting you guys here in Nashville, and also in other parts, and also meeting people at Go Fest that add on to my drive, that spurs me on to continue to want to go ahead further. And in fact, when I look at social media, looking at how people like the Japanese play the game, it gives me a driving force to say, hey, you know, there's somebody doing it like this. I think I could figure out how to do it better. Although we have a different playground, but I will try to think of ways how to match up with that, despite having maybe a poorer playground. Because, you know, Singapore is not exactly the most optimum place or country to actually play Pogo at. Although some people think that it is the best, but going around the world, going around to places like Nashville and to Japan, Tokyo as example, Singapore is not exactly the best.
If like for instance, if you could give like role players advice, what do you have to say to them? Because I see it a lot. Like, my situation's not good. It's not optimal at all because, you know, role players. Fire. What do you have to say to them? So, you know, everybody has different amount of time to play the game. Has different amount of buying power to play the game, and also different lifestyle. And of course, with different lifestyle, you know, it depends on how many hours you have to work, and also depends on whether your country or the place that you're staying at has a good number of Pokestops, a good number of Pokemons. That will determine whether you are able to catch a lot of Pokemons or not, compared to someone who lives in the city. But of course, if you are comparing with someone who lives in the city, that person will obviously have to pay more, you know, in terms of for the food, for, you know, the parking, for whatever things that cost, you know, him to play the game. In fact, if you want to compare to someone like me who actually grinds around my city and we have to put a lot of lures, we actually spend a lot of money putting lures. But of course, since we are all in different playgrounds, to me, there is no real comparison between someone who is, you know, playing at you know, Toronto versus someone who's playing, say, in, I don't know, middle of nowhere. Like one place that I've been to that's really in the middle of nowhere was at the Maldives. There was only one Pokestop at the resort, and there was actually a village just one island away from me, and there were 2 gyms there and just 5 Pokestops. So what would you do there?
I didn't play Pokemon for 5 days. Yeah. So my point is, if I'm actually like one of the players, or should I say if I'm the resident living on that island, I don't think I will be able to reach even just 10% of what I've done. So it's a very different playground. So that's why there's no real comparison in terms of, you know, how much XP or how much this person, that person can do. But of course, even all this taken into consideration, even if I put someone into the best playground possible, say for example in Japan or in Toronto, the most important thing is the mindset. If you don't have the proper mindset to want to play the game, if you don't have the driving force to play the game, there's no real reason why someone will actually achieve what they will achieve.
And well, in terms of like your achievements right now in Pokemon Go, what would you say is like your big major goal? Of course, you're always out to, you know, help out your community, but like your own personal goal. What is the next step that you're currently working towards? Like the big picture.
Oh yeah. So another thing, just because Reversal just brought this thing up, another reason why I feel motivated to play the game is because I set goals. Goals for myself. You know, I actually have an ultimate goal for myself. I have medium goals and small goals. So we talk about the small goals. So the small goals that I had was to actually reach level 40 when I first started playing Pokemon Go.
Small goal.
That was my small goal. Which I got it in 81 days, and then I proceeded on to setting a medium goal, which was to hit 50 million XP. And I decided, why don't I try to, you know, hit 100 million to get 6 digits on my XP. So that's another goal. And then eventually I said, why don't I get 20 million Stardust? So I'm using different source of the game to actually motivate myself. First it's XP, then it's Stardust, then after when raids came out, I decided to go after 1000 legendary raids. So that's a different motivation, you know, driving force for myself. So all these are small little goals that I set for myself, and then when another new legendary comes out like Raikou, I decided to go for 1000 Raikou raids. So that's another motivation, you know, that I set for myself, another goal that I set for myself. And a few more goals that I've actually completed, like reaching 500 million XP and so forth. But my ultimate goal is actually to get 500,000 Pokemons caught.
That's 500,000 Pokemon caught, and you're 80% done with that right now. So that's a crazy goal. That is your ultimate goal.
Yes.
I honestly thought it would be like 1 billion experience, but that's actually really interesting, because experience doesn't really necessarily play that big of a role these days, does it?
Yeah. In fact, the overall stats of what you have done on your whole account, comparing just one attribute, which is your XP, isn't a full measure of what you have done so far. But you know, XP, although it's a combination of everything, but of course you still need to spend money to buy lucky eggs to be able to get the amount of XP. So comparing with someone who, say example, has done 450,000 Pokemons caught and maybe has like 12,000 legendary raids done, but he doesn't use lucky egg at all, his XP wouldn't be able to reach even at 500 million. So it would be a big difference. But as of now, I think a lot of the hardcore grinders, they are still using lucky egg to continue to gain XP, I guess.
Yeah. So one last question that I want to be throwing in right now, because our time is relatively limited. Level 40 right now, maximum level in Pokemon Go. What do you see coming to Pokemon Go next, and how do you think Niantic will be implementing it, or what would you like to see in regards of a level cap increase? Because they could just increase it to 50 and just you'd be level 50 instantly. But would you be happy with that?
Well, I don't wish for that to happen, because, you know, I just do not want XP to be the determining factor for you to progress in level after level 40. I wish Niantic can do what they did on Ingress, you know, using medals, you know, whether we have to get them to platinum medals to actually proceed on from level 49 to 50. But that will also mean that everyone will have to work on their stats and not just the numbers on the XP.
Yeah.
Which makes it a whole lot more fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's different specific goals. Alright, guys, there you have it. There's more to come. We're most likely going to be meeting up in Long Beach as well, and even then we're going to be, you know, touching base in Japan as well. So keep those questions coming. Definitely keep those questions coming. I'm gonna leave all the social media links of Brandon in the description down below, so definitely check them out. And also the article with IGN, which kind of touches more upon what you said about Pokemon Go by Andrew Goldfarb, will also be linked. And of course, the community video in which we got to meet BrandonTan in its full glory in his own community in Singapore, so that way you got to see some of the faces in your community. Shout out to the Singaporean community, because really seems like a tight group.